Greetings, this is Joelle, and I am the Viberarian. I am here to elevate, enlighten, and empower, and I am undertaking that journey for myself first and foremost. I am sharing with you the experiences that I have and hoping that it will also elevate, enlighten, and empower you as well. So I'm coming on today because I wanted to have a conversation about Mary Magdalene. So before we get started, let me just say that I am holding a frequency of unconditional love for all, no matter who you are and where you're from. And I'm radiating that energy from my heart space to your heart space. And I ask and intend that when I come on here, that my messages are of truthful and loving guidance from the highest divine sources, and so it is. So before we begin, I just want to go ahead. I know the sound doesn't come through for you, but it does for me, and I'm going to just do some throat chakra chiming here just to move some energy. Clearing the throat chakra in order to speak the words of truth and love in this moment. So there's just things move from one thing to one moment to the next for me in a beautiful way that's really truly magical. And so I'm going to stitch together a kind of an experience and picture hopefully will emerge from it in a very beautiful way at some point in this conversation. So I have been an oracle of the Sophia. The Sophia being the divine feminine creator, God principle, feminine aspect of the God source. And so I receive messages from all manner of divine feminine energies, from Mother Mary, who persistently walks with me, and Yemanya, Kuan Yin. I mean, the sheer number of feminine energies that I have received loving guidance from has just been truly a blessing to me. And so I understand myself to be a divine feminine myself, right? A fractal of that divine feminine spark here in this human form, in this time and place. And part of my understanding of that is that I am here to hold a frequency of the divine feminine energy of love and unconditionality, of deeply connected spirituality for others as well. And so I am carrying a frequency and pattern that is very important to this world right now. Now, many people talk about divine feminine and divine masculine. And when we hear this, we tend to hear it in terms of the whole twin flame or divine love paradigm, which is very interesting. There's a lot of controversy. If you go out and just search on Google, you'll see lots and lots of information out there. And much of it is, let's say, very interesting. I would ask that you use your own discernment and as you encounter it. But one of the things that I am called to do is to speak about the divine feminine holy experience as I am actually having that holy experience myself. And so what this looks like is that healing the wounds of femininity, healing the imbalance in the patriarchy, and then also then embodying an energy of unconditional love. Many people begin to focus on a romantic aspect of being a twin flame or divine lover. But that particular part of the journey can actually be very challenging. And many people get very focused on that romantic matching and connection and coming into a union state with another person or your divine counterpart, when there really is another pathway of this journey. And that is what I am going to be speaking about. And I understand how Mary Magdalene is very, very much tied to that path as well. So many of you may have seen the movie like Da Vinci Code with Dan Brown, which talks about the secret symbolism that is all around us. And in the plot, you know, they were decoding the symbols and trying to uncover all these secret things that the institutionalized church was trying to suppress in some ways. So that movie was out many years ago, and it's a very popular culture version of some of the scholarship that really has emerged over the last 50, 60, 70 years. People who study the literature and the ancient texts and writings have begun to uncover a version of Mary Magdalene that is very different from what many of us might have been taught in our Bible teachings in our early years of church instruction. And what has basically emerged is a fascinating, it's just fascinating when you go into this, because we're looking at the way that the patriarchal painted women versus the reality of who they were and the positions that they held within society and structure. What is emerging is very different from the idea of women being disempowered chattel property, till we can discover that there have been priestesses and women of wisdom throughout all time. And part of our unveiling in this present time is that we are now being able to see these things without the filter of suppression and without the filters of politics and things of that nature. So I have been reading and studying the Magdalene, the mysteries of the Magdalene, what we've heard as the Rose, the Magdalene Rose, or the Rose Sisters, the Rose Order, the Sisterhood of the Rose. These are all terms that you will find being discussed and used in various circles. And to, some of the things that I've read here, recently, I read the Sophia Code by Kaia Ra, which was a beautiful book of teachings, the Sophia Code. Here, let's see if you can see that. There's a whole chapter dedicated to many of the women, Isis, Hathor, the Sophia, Mary Magdalene. It's just amazing the beautiful teachings that she had in this particular book. And also more recently, the Magdalene Mysteries, the left-hand path of the feminine Christ. And as you see here, we have the dove and the rainbow, right? And so these teachings are talking about how Mary Magdalene was in fact herself a knowledgeable and divine priestess teacher who had her own ministry of service and work that was outside of the scope of just being like one of Jesus's followers. Okay, so when we get into some of the teachings, they would say, oh, she was a prostitute and one of his followers. But when we dig deeper into that, and even now, I think the Catholic Church has said that that is not the official version of her, and they've acknowledged that that was inserted around 500 AD in terms of the way that the Bible was compiled at that particular time. And so what we're seeing is that a change from her story of being a lesser being, a lower being, to emerging as a very evolved and highly conscious being who also received really most circles accept now that she was truly one of the companions of Jesus and his most beloved companion in terms of the work that he was doing. And much of the scholarship will talk about how there was possibly jealousy amongst the apostles because of Jesus's relationship with her and her closeness and her teaching, the teachings that he was giving. And if you really want to stir up the controversy, then you can talk about the fact where Jesus and Mary Magdalene actually married, or in a relationship with each other. I think in the book of John, it says something about, you know, and Jesus loved her. She was beloved of Jesus most of all. You know, in some of the stories and tellings, they'll say that, you know, Mary moved out of the area where we saw the biblical story unfold, and eventually carrying through her womb the holy child of her in Christ. And that this hidden knowledge, the hiddenness of the actual bloodline of Mary as a continuity of the holy bloodline of Christ is some of what they say the Templars were involved with. I mean, there's just a huge amount of information there, and you can really spend hours and hours kind of following all of these paths. What I understand to be is of a lineage is literal and yet also spiritual. So if we have a line of women back to her and prior to her appearance on the scene who are containing the wisdom and the knowledge of the divine creator, that are holding the frequency of unconditional love and manifesting that unconditional love into the world, then we can begin to trace our lineage back through that all the way back to the original feminine creator principle. So, as I said, there's lots of resources out there. Alana Fairchild has a chapter in her Crystal Masters 333 book that deals with Ascended Master Mary Magdalene. And in here, she titles it's chapter 6, The Awakened Feminine. And the crystal associated with it is Aqua Aura Quartz, crystal alchemy, and the initiation of discernment. So you can see here, this is just a beautiful image here. What I find very interesting is it talks about crystal alchemy. So one of the things that is talked about is in the divine love, in the partnership of a divine masculine and divine feminine energy, there is the higher connection or the higher marriage or the hierogamos that occurs that is then creates a holy third energy, which is the spirit of God force activated. And so if we were to look at Mary Magdalene as a divine, feminine, and empowered priestess being connected to the mysteries of God, and if we also see Jesus as the same in the masculine, is connected to, he says, I am the Father and the Son as well in terms of biblical teaching. Here we have these two equal energies, really, rather than one primary male with a subservient feminine. If we look at then a balanced partnership dynamic, the thing that arises out of that and through that union is the holy energy, okay? And the third energy and the frequency of all creation is actually love. So to have the creation of this love force that is truly empowering all of us in this world is an absolutely beautiful thing to contemplate. And to see in my walk as a divine feminine how I am balancing out the wounds of the patriarchy, both in myself and then for the collective, and balancing my frequencies and bringing in the spark of God, unconditional love into a very tangible and manifest way. I understand that to be my pathway as a rose sister, or a sister of the rose, or a Magdalene, of being of the Magdalene, right? The Magdalene lineage, right? So those are just a few of the little background. It's really such a complex topic that it's very hard to encapsulate. And I'll probably come back on to do some more sharing about what I understand about this. But one of the beautiful things that I experience around me is how my sisterhood has really emerged as a source of love, comfort, and joy in my life. Yesterday was the Founders Day of the sorority that I'm in, Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, which was founded by 5 women in 1920 in Washington, D.C. at Howard University. And it was 5 women who are known as our pearls who gathered together to create an organization that was truly meant to embody things such as scholarship and service. You know, so service to others is part of the whole idea of Black Greek letter organizations, and these that were founded in the early parts of last century in order to speak to a need that was seen by the collegiate people on campuses that had been basically segregated from joining brotherhoods and sisterhoods that were at white colleges and universities. So these organizations arose, and our organization is 101 years old this year. And these 5 women came together. They're known as pearls in our particular organization. And there are many other feminine-centered communities that continually emerge together, like come together to do service, right? So not only was it like the birthday of our organization yesterday, then today is my actual sister's birthday. And the relationship that I have with her is such a blessing to me. We're 12 years apart, but we have the beautiful aspect of having become friends in addition to being sisters in our adult life. And so just the messages of sisterhood and connection are so present around me all the time. My friendship circle, or my sister circle, which includes like my best friend and other best friends and other best friends, you know, and sisters who travel with me that I've never even met before, such as my friend Helen, who painted that beautiful heart that is behind me that was in my last video. And also my dear sister Nikki, Divine Love Crystal Grid over in the UK, who is doing a huge amount of work helping twins who are on this journey of coming into unconditional love by channeling messages and sharing guidance that she receives from all of these people all over the world who are joined together on this mission to really bring love onto the planet in a new way. And it's a frequency of love that has not been prominent in our present reality experience. For our lifetimes and some lifetimes before that as well. We're certainly going through an elevation. So one of the gifts that I received this Christmas is this beautiful Magdalene Oracle. Thank you. I appreciate Tanya for gifting me this. And it says an ocean of eternal love. So I am going to draw cards from here later on in this reading. And then I also received a gift from a beautiful librarian sister of mine named Judy, who I met a couple decades ago. And we've continued to be connected through our profession at times and through personal connections. And she's just another beautiful spirit. But she sent me this deck of Priestesses of the New Earth. So I'm also going to be sharing guidance from here. And what I was guided to do was to pull some energies about the Magdalene energy, the Mary Magdalene energy, to see what other creators have discovered about her and what lessons can come through as we begin to connect the dots from that. I also requested a letter from Nikki, who does these channel letters where you can request to receive what she can channel from any number of, anything you can think of. People have had letters channeled from Prince, from their pets, from departed loved ones, from their divine counterpart, from tree spirits or from flower spirits. So it's just amazing the things that come out. And she's releasing videos quite often and frequently, and also has released several books as well about the divine love journey. Divine Love Letters, Soul to Soul, Twin Flames, right? So it's all about this journey into love. So I'll also be sharing the letter that she gave, that she channeled for me from Mary Magdalene as part of this conversation as well. My last reading was really about the rainbow energy and how we are painting now the world that we want to see. And so I know that that is going to also resonate with some of the guidance that's coming through, because we are painting this energy of unconditional love and realizing that the canvas is full of unlimited potential in terms of the way that that unconditional love can actually become manifested into this world and reality. So firstly, I want to share a little bit of, the first card is coming from the Keepers of the Light Oracle by Kaia Ra. And this is the Mary Magdalene card that he has prepared. Teacher awakens. Excuse the autofocus. I don't know how to make it any different. So you have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Don't let anything stop you. I love that this is the card of the teacher, because that is one of the things that is lesser known about Mary Magdalene, is that she was teaching very much and understood the teachings of Christ in a way that was in alignment. And Christ gave her teachings that he did not give to the other disciples. And so she carried them forward. What I love about this is that we have this image here behind, which is really known to be that of the sacred vulva, the sacred womb, the yoni, the feminine, right? If you were to see, it's very much that archway of the gateway into the sacred feminine space of our inner womb, right? And we can see here, we have the rings intertwined, like the holy marriage around her neck, and roses around the upper corner. So in Kaia Ra's message, he says, you have something important to share. Follow the inner call. Don't let anything stop you. We don't have a full picture of who Mary of Magdala actually was, but we do know from spiritual texts that she was a great visionary and teacher with the clairvoyant abilities, because she was able to see angels and the soul of her twin flame, Master Jesus, after he had passed away. She also had the ability to shake up crowds of people to bring their hearts and minds back to the highest good. She now devotes her time to supporting us in bringing about the radical changes the earth needs in order to prosper, and to encouraging those who feel the need to teach the joy of spirit. Mary is a rebel heart in many ways. She helps those light workers who feel restricted by the opinions of others to step up and speak their truth. You have a strong desire to share what you have learned. You may feel people will dismiss you or ridicule you, but don't worry. Mary Magdalene is here to guide you through this process. Your vulnerability is actually your greatest strength, because you are trusting the power of your soul, and that part of you can never be broken. You are a wonderful teacher and leader, and the world needs you. You are being backed by heaven, so step forwards and share all that you have learned. Now, this speaks to each of us, regardless of our gender. Our divine feminine self, in masculine and feminine form, whatever you're incarnated with, you absolutely have the divine feminine aspect of your nature. And many of times, the aspect of speaking things that are emotional to us, that are the fears or the hopes or the outpouring of sensitivities, many times those sentiments can be outblasted by the logical side of stuff. And especially if you're stepping into like a new way of being spiritual, absolutely the concern about if I say certain things, what is going to be the impact? Will I be seen in the way that I'm comfortable with? Will I be ridiculed? Will I lose my employment? Will I be ostracized? Will people think I'm cuckoo? You know, there's all kinds of things. And if you've ever stepped out into public face, or to even have a conversation with somebody at the grocery store, at the park, where there's an emotional quality to the exchange, it actually can be very fear-inducing, right? So we are able and now being encouraged to speak forth strongly. I think there's a saying that says, like, speak your truth even if your voice shakes, right? And I certainly, when I get very emotional about something, my voice definitely shakes, and I might even well up with tears in my eyes, right? From the emotions, the energy of the feeling that is being expressed through me. So this is very interesting, because right now we're in a place where people are speaking their truth, but the frequencies of the truth that are being expressed, while they actually are maybe valid for that person's experience, their frequency of the truth that is expressed is not one of love. We are in a time and a place where there is angry expressions of truth. There is rage expressions of truth. There are fear expressions of truth. And absolutely, people are standing forward on their inner knowing and what they feel. But what I have found myself doing is feeling the frequency of what is being expressed. And I can feel the resonance of love when that is in the words. And when it is not, many times it is like a fist or an energetic outpouring that literally can push one back from it, when it is not an open-hearted kind of energy. At least that's how I experience it. Now, we are all able to have our own reality experience of this thing that we have massively created together as humanity's global consciousness. And we may not like what we see is being expressed right now. We can be on any side of opposition, really, on any issue, and be very emotionally involved in that. But what I would ask is then, am I speaking and involved with the energy of love? Because to me, that is where the most important truthfulness and the common universal truth is always going to be love. It is not going to be in this new frequency that we're creating. It's not going to be universal hate, right? And we have, in many aspects, a high degree of common hate, where we just pass that ball back and forth, like ping pong, and nobody is willing to necessarily let that little ball of hate and anger and injustice and indignity, nobody's willing to just stop and put down their energetic rackets to let that particular duality aspect die. Like here we have those entwined rings again on her robe closure, if you will. That is an entwinedness and interconnectedness. So we can be interconnected in the energy of hate, or we can be interconnected in the frequency of love. And the true fact that I believe is that we are all connected in the frequency of love, whether we recognize it or not. So, that's very interesting in the messages that he has here for us. So also what we see is the image of the rose. It's always connected in the symbology that you'll see again and again in the cards, the rose order, the rose emblem. That might be one of your spiritual synchronicities. So what I wanted to do is look into the Power of Flowers Oracle deck by Isha Lerner. and illustrated by Karen Forkish. And so this is a beautiful deck here that talks about the flower essences and their energies and the spiritual energies associated with it. So I wanted to kind of go into the rose energy. And I was delighted to see that it is there's a rainbow on the card. And of course, the whole creating the rainbow and being a one rainbow tribe of humanity. So here we have on one side a yellow rose and a pink rose. We have a river in the background and foliage at the feet. We have a rose at the center heart of a feminine illuminated being. As you can see, the illumination around her head. And I think there's even, yes, there is a rose at the very top of the rainbow as well. All right, so in her book, it says, the blessing is this: Holy Rose, Queen of Love, your beauty is divine. Sacred is your tenderness, jewel of nature, sweet and kind. Beautiful. Okay. The signature of the rose plant. The rose family includes many species of five-petaled flowers in the shape of pentagrams or five-pointed stars, which offers humanity a beautiful symbol of cosmic love accessible through the human heart. The rose's thorny stem is in marked contrast to its sweet scent, reflecting the suffering and pain one must sometimes endure in order to understand and experience real love. Perhaps humanity will one day evolve beyond the need for thorns, but for now, more suffering is evidently necessary. The roots of the rose bush grow deep into the ground, making the uprooting of this plant difficult. Just as a human being can surmount great obstacles, especially with the purity of self-love as a foundation, excuse me, clear my throat chakra. Okay. Let's see. They grow deep into the ground, just as a human being can surmount great obstacles, especially with the purity of self-love as a foundation. The rose bush is tenacious and can endure extreme weather and neglect. Okay. Every rose has its thorn. I'm a child of the 80s and I can still hear the song, the rock song, every rose has its thorn. You'll have to look that up and see the lyrics because there must be something in that. The flower essence of the rose is one of the purest vibrations in existence. Whatever its color or species, it always invokes the most profound dimensions of love, accomplishing this through a gentle stimulation of the heart chakra located at the center of the human body. Perhaps the rarest and most sublime of all rose essences is derived from the green rose. It opens the heart chakra, which is strengthened by the color green, to extremely high levels of intuition channeled through the very core of the human heart. Very interesting. I've never seen a green rose before. It calls to mind green Tara, so I'm going to have to go in a little bit and see what there is with that connection as well. But I know green is the heart color, heart chakra color, and color of Mother Gaia as well. The archetype: Madonna, Mary, Queen of Heaven, Mother of the World. The Virgin Mary has at various times been referred to as the Holy Rose, the Mystic Rose, and Goddess of the Rose. The rosary, or rose wreath, originating in the Middle East as a form of worship to the Virgin Goddess, was eventually Christianized, taking the form of a prayer to the Virgin Mary. What is more, it has been said that Mary's Immaculate Conception was brought about by a magic rose. Similarly, it was not uncommon for stained glass windows in ancient Christian cathedrals to depict Mary surrounded by roses. One of the things in the Da Vinci Code that's a clue that they go to look at is Rosslyn Chapel. and I believe it's in France. And you can certainly look at the images of roses. There's plenty of information in Wikipedia with Wikimedia and the pictures that they have where you can see some of these ancient, these olden, I won't say ancient because ancient would be like tens of thousands of years, but these are hundreds of years ago images of the rose all throughout, the images on these huge cathedrals and structures that have been standing for many centuries now. So I think that's very interesting. Like the five, I also think it's interesting that it's saying that the rose wreath originated in the Middle East, but then was Christianized. So here we have emergence of two systems that really over the centuries have been warring with each other and seeing each other as different. And yet we have a crossover of that rose wreath or rosary energy. Like the five-petaled apple blossom and the five-lobed apple, the rose forms a natural pentagram. While the apple is associated with Aphrodite, goddess of love, as well as with Eve in the Garden of Eden, its close counterpart, the rose, is associated with Mary, and said to be the second Eve and also known as the flower of Venus. It was in ancient India that the goddess was first symbolized as the holy rose, whose body was considered a temple. This philosophy gave rise to an understanding that the temple, the garden, and the female body were mystically one, coalescing into the pure, fertile womb of regeneration. In later Gnostic cathedrals, the goddess was represented as the universe itself, containing the essence of the male or the masculine principle within herself. At the mystical core of Christianity, Mary, a derivative of the goddess, embodies the immaculate mystery of birth. For her, Christ child represents the alchemical balance of masculine and feminine principles which issue forth from her womb. Mary, the moon, gives birth to the light of the world in the form of the cosmic child, making her the cosmic birther of all that is sacred. Sadly, our culture has lost its connection to this deeper mythology of the Queen of Heaven. Very interesting because the Marys, Mother Mary, Mary Magdalene, and the women were the first to, in the biblical story, see Christ after he rose from the dead, right? And so I think that there is a teaching in that, you know, the women cared for the body and tended to the body, were the last to, before he was sealed in the tomb, and then the first to see the risen energy. And so I think that there is a parallel to that, to say that the feminine consciousness now here on this planet is really heralding the second coming of the Christed energy, which is in all of us. We are the love embodied we are the Christ child here in order to be of service and to spread the good news, if you will, through our embodiment in this lifetime. And so the fact that the feminine is here heralding that announcement, and that we as spiritually connected light workers are also bringing in that message into the thousands, and that the masculines who have connected to their divine femininity within are also leading the way of that, showing the illumination of this present time, I think is a beautiful connection. It says here under healing, the Australian mystic Rudolf Steiner offers a unique perspective of the birth of Christ, suggesting that Mary, in fact, gave birth to twin souls, one dedicated to the path of truth, the yellow rose, okay, and the other dedicated to the path of the heart, the pink rose. In this way, according to Steiner, Mary offered the world both the forces of universal logos and of universal love. So we know that the masculine and feminine initial aspected of God's source is the logos and the Sophia, right? So the knowledge and the wisdom that come together to create the divine spark. So this book, I think, was written at some point in the 90s. It's very, very timely, even for now. it says here that, and the merging of the masculine and feminine and that higher divine marriage of alchemy is what we are doing right now. In choosing this card, you are greeted by the Rose Goddess, gently announcing your readiness to accept the twin gifts of cosmic love and wisdom embodied by the mystic rose. Mary's balancing of the head and the heart is symbolized by the sun, aglow as an aura of light around her head, and an illumined rose shining forth from deep within her heart. Behind her stands a weeping willow tree offering its branches to mystical muses for the making of wands. Such branches were once considered cosmic connectors to the stars. Mary sits surrounded by the delicate flower shooting star. The flower essence derived from its blossom assists humanity with the birthing of higher forms of consciousness on earth. Allow your mind to be illuminated with the yellow clarity of the sun as you open your solar body to new inspiration. At the same time, open your heart to the stream of rose light now encircling your energy field. You are dearly blessed. In practical application, the rose is considered the lotus of the heart. Its vibration is pure and devotional, offering a full spectrum of colors, each with a variation on the general theme. For example, the white rose purifies the heart. The pink rose gently opens and protects the heart. The yellow rose bridges mind and heart. The red rose strengthens the vein of love between two people and deepens the romantic quality of the heart. The peach rose offers peace and gaiety to the heart. And finally, multicolored roses blend and mix the variations described above. The rose essence is one of the most beneficial for conditions of the heart chakra, and issues regarding love. Highly effective when taken by itself, the healing properties of this essence can be greatly enhanced when used in tandem with rose oil or aromatherapy. You may blend the rose flower elixir with massage oil or lotion and gently rub it around the heart chakra. Several of my clients, the author's clients, report visions of incandescent pink or white light surrounding them when they are massaged with rose essence. The rose essence unites with the universal feminine matrix, and consequently, I have connected it to the Divine Mother. Therefore, I suggest that my clients hang or carry with them a picture or a symbol of the Divine Mother from the tradition of their choice, and that as they take the essence, they visualize their lives graced with the overlighting presence of her unconditional love. Likewise, when aligning yourself in the rose, to the rose and its healing properties, I suggest you anchor and attune yourself to Mother Earth, for she holds the true roots of this beloved plant deep within her, just as the rose essence grounds and sustains your healing. When my youngest daughter, Sophie, interesting, her daughter was Sophie, and we're talking about the Sophia, an aspect of the divine feminine, was born, a dear friend planted a wild rose in our yard in celebration of her birth. This plant has blossomed with tremendous abundance year after year, showering my daughter with indescribable love and protection. Each spring, since she has been old enough to understand, Sophie goes out into the yard eager to see if there are new buds on the plant. And at 6 years old, she now comes running to tell me how much love the flowers are giving her. When she is sad, she is often drawn to the rose bush for consolation as well. I highly recommend planting a rose bush for a new baby. It is a beautiful way to honor a child, offering tangible yet magical love from the realm of the flowers. Rose is also a beautiful essence for use during pregnancy and childbirth. It can be rubbed into the belly, enhancing the quality of love exchange between mother and unborn child. I recommend putting a drop of rose essence, highly diluted, on the rosy lips of the newborn, welcoming him or her with perhaps the sweetest elixir on earth. Very, very interesting guidance. I know this was like 1994. No, 84. Well, anyway, this book is, 2000, excuse me. This book was written 20 years ago, 21 years ago. So I love how timely and ageless this is and this image. So great wisdom from the guidance of the flowers. And I, of course, have rose lotions and I have rose body soaps and things of that nature. And I used to feel like it was like an old-fashioned smell, right? So I don't smell like an old woman. But of course, as I matured and came into different frequency, now I find that it is beautiful and delightful, and I make it part of like my spiritual ritual when I take bath to be using the rose essence as part of that. So continuing on, thank you everyone who continues to be here for these. I'm delivering the messages as guided. So in this other deck by Isha Lerner, the Triple Goddess Tarot, I wanted to see what information there was. And in talking about the feminine heart, this is card number 6, which is open heart. And as you can see here, it's like the high heart chakra of this feminine in this area here, right, where we're talking about these energies. I'm not sure what I did with the other Keepers of the Light card, but oh, here we go. We see the commonality of the high heart between the heart and the throat chakra embodiment here. So I wanted to see what it says about the open heart energy. And so this is card number 6. So as a reference librarian, I love that this comes into my work as the Viberarian because I have such beautiful resources to be able to share with you. It says the poem, this starts, "This is love, to fly towards a secret sky, to cause 100 veils to fall each moment. First, to let go of life. Finally, to take a step without feet." Rumi. Beautiful that Rumi is the poem and guidance of this. I've been doing readings with the Rumi deck for several days in my own personal work, so I love it. This correlates with the traditional tarot card of the Lovers. And it says the Lovers card is associated with the number 6 and the qualities of loyalty, commitment, and union. Pythagoras considered 6 the first perfect number due to the fact that its parts, 1, 2, and 3, add up to itself. Traditionally, 6 is symbolically depicted as a 6-pointed star comprised of 2 overlapping triangles, one pointed upward and the other downward. The upward pointing triangle is associated with the fiery spirit of the divine masculine, while the downward pointed triangle is associated with the watery spirit of the divine feminine. Together, these triangles represent the alchemical marriage of masculine and feminine and the reconciliation of opposites. How beautiful is that to be talking about the reconciliation of opposites? If ever there is a need right now for a reconciliation of opposites, it is at this point in history, certainly as it's January 17th here in the United States. So, continuing on. Through a sacred marriage of divine feminine and masculine aspects, the soul attains direct, intimate knowledge of the beloved. This is the highest ecstasy. The sacred marriage within manifests as a great cosmic celebration wherein divine love and wisdom pour forth and infusing the entire universe, including each precious human soul, with a completely awe-inspiring sense of peace and clarity. The world's soul revels and rejoices in this highest expression of love. Pictured as a beautiful woman embracing the womb seed of new love. She caresses it near her heart. Her fiery garment emanates waves of vibrational life force that move upward out of the earth through the body. This is the luminous energy of Tantra, the art of spirit-filled love, taught by the masters in the Eastern schools of initiation. It illuminates her first and second chakras, the centers of creativity and procreation. Her sexual desire has merged with the all-knowing aspect of divine love. The upper region of her body is blue, the color of truth. It is as if the vastness of the sky were united with her body so that a tiny orb of the moon can glow within her. This inner moon reflects the light of her original truth, revealing the infinite source of love that is her birthright, the eternal gift of the divine feminine. This stage of initiation entails dedication and commitment, for the tasks involved are some of the most difficult to comprehend for the human soul. The individual must seek to embrace the essence of love within and avoid the temptation to seek it elsewhere. Each human being is an instrument of divinity. The beloved with whom we choose to share our intimate life is but a reflection of our own loving nature. To the extent we seek love outside ourselves, we meet with disillusionment and disappointment. True love requires discipline, commitment, and practice. It is a path of personal mastery and devotion requiring compassion and forgiveness. The light of true self-love will never forsake you. Be loving and good to yourself and dare to follow the path of unconditional love. Awakening to the archetype, Aphrodite, goddess of love and beauty. In Greek mythology, Aphrodite is the goddess of love. Born out of the sea of creation, she brings the song of love to men and women. In mythical verse, the winds and waves carried her to Cyprus, the island that became her home, and as she set foot on the earth, flowers of all kinds sprang up around her. She tempted men and gods alike into her bed of roses. Thus, potion and scents of passion, or aphrodisiacs, were named after her. Love is as close as the air we breathe, as natural as the rising and falling of the waves, as simple as the sun's rays caressing the earth. Yet with our dualistically inclined minds, we make it something complicated, remote, and ultimately unattainable. Indeed, ignorance about the true nature of love is the single greatest cause of human suffering. So let us be more careful and contemplative in our approach to love. Imagine for a moment that love has two dimensions: the horizontal, confined and enclosed by time and space, and the vertical, representing the infinite, eternal link with spirit. Human love often gets caught up in the horizontal zone, fostering the desire to own, possess, or control one's love object. Such strategies, motivated by fear, are doomed to fail. Aphrodite offers love to humanity from the vertical plane. Her love is unbound by time. It is endless, eternal, and deeply fulfilling. It embraces each of us every moment of every day. It resides in the cave of our heart and expands outward unconditionally once the virtue of self-love has been mastered within the soul body of the individual. The archetypal qualities of Aphrodite's love arise from the transcendent realm of non-duality and freedom. Unification with her love engenders wholeness, for she bridges the polar opposites of masculine and feminine within her golden light. You are invited into the golden chambers of the love goddess. When we are touched by Aphrodite, we are encased in an orb of shimmering joy. Let the elixir of love that Aphrodite pours into your heart chalice overflow with sensuality, freedom, generosity, and unconditional love for yourself and others. Find more time to care for your body, your hair, your attire, and your environment. Dare to be the rapturous beauty that lives in your heart. Everyday encounters. Aphrodite is associated with all that is graceful, loving, caring, adoring, and sensual. When we encounter the goddess of love archetype in our daily lives, we meet the opportunity to work with the heart chakra, the fourth sacred energy center in the human body. When this chakra is blocked or afflicted by childhood trauma, lost love, rejection, a broken heart, or fear of intimacy, the individual will have a difficult time receiving love. It is a very good practice to stand up with arms reaching towards the heavens in the shape of a chalice. Imagine you are being filled with the elixir of divine love. Let the radiant light of Aphrodite pour into your heart. We often forget the power of our own love. Offer your love to the world in all your actions, no matter how small and seemingly insignificant. You will find that people cannot resist you, for the joy that emanates from your loving demeanor is both healing and contagious. Each day as you walk the archetypal journey of Aphrodite, take the time to honor your open heart. Light a candle in your home, symbolizing the purity of love that you wish to share with the world. The flame will remind you of the passion that glows within. Nature's healer, the rose. Of all the flowers in nature's magic garden, the rose is one of the most revered. Its esoteric meaning, it is closely affiliated with the lotus. Both flowers are yonic symbols, signifying creative maternal mystery. The rose has been associated with Venus. For its 5 petals, it represents the star of love that lives in the heart of the goddess. It is also associated with the Holy Mother, and its beautiful blossom is the embodiment of spirit. Rose oil is one of the purest vibrations in existence. It opens the heart chakra and expands the soul. The rose's thorny stem is in marked contrast to its sweet scent, reflecting the suffering and pain one must endure in order to understand and experience the sweetness of real love. The roots of the rose bush grow deep in the ground, making the uprooting of this plant difficult. Just as the rose bush is tenacious and can endure hazardous weather conditions, a human being can surmount great obstacles, especially with the purity of self-love as a foundation. The soul message: fill my heart with love, that my every teardrop may become a star. That's Hazrat Inayat Khan. Beautiful. Wow. Beautiful, beautiful guidance. Continuing on here. So in her decks, then going to the heart chakra, we could not leave without having a conversation from this same series in terms of giving us an expanded view of the heart space. Let's see here. Get to it. Here we go. Look at this. So we have here then the green rose. There is so much in this picture. We have the dove. We have a doe or a deer. We have like feathers and sunburst behind her. Crowning wisdom of the moon. Again, with the sacred yoni as the background of the image here. The pearl of wisdom here illuminated. The rainbows of the chakra to the higher illumination. Beautiful, beautiful card here. So The poem is this: one regret, dear world, that I am determined not to have when I am lying on my deathbed is that I did not kiss you enough. By Hafiz. Have you kissed the world enough? Have you given the world enough love today? Have you given yourself enough love today? Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud, it is not rude, it is not self-seeking, it is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. Corinthians 1, no, excuse me. Yes, Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. At one point, I might have known that by able to quote it. I know the verse, but didn't have the citation correct. Again, are we experiencing in the truth that you are expressing patience? Are we experiencing kindness in the truth that you're expressing? Is there anger in what you're expressing? Is there an accounting of wrongdoings in what you are expressing? That is not the frequency of love, okay? Love is always hopeful, always trusting, protective, and perseveres, and it never fails. Pictured in the fourth chakra image is the goddess of love, a woman whose heart reflects an aura of delicate pink hues. A radiant circle of light over her head represents the balance between heart and mind, heaven and earth, and purpose and devotion. She is adorned with the wings of an angel, for she is compassionate and adoring. Associated with Our Lady of the World, Mother Mary, or the Queen of Heaven, her heart sings with the gentle fragrance of the rose. The deer at her feet and the doves at her sides are endowed with her love, and she with theirs, for ultimately each living creature possesses a pure and good heart. As she stands on the earth, surrounded by the early budding petals of the lotus blossom, she takes into herself the suffering of the world while radiating compassionate care to all. The light of her love has filled the sky, the heavens, the plants, the trees, the animals, the birds, and all sentient and non-sentient beings on earth. The chakra attributes: the function is love, the color is green, the musical note is F, healing flower is the rose, the animal totems are the deer and the dove, foods, vegetables, herbs, lavender, jasmine, metal, copper, gemstone, emerald, malachite, and tourmaline. The healing essence of this chakra. The fourth chakra is located in the region of the heart and between the shoulder blades. This is the area of the body where love resides, in the cave of the heart. In our culture, the rate of heart attacks is very high. We are depleted of unconditional love and devotion in many ways. A cold, closed, or fearful heart is a heart that is under attack. This area of the body calls for deep breath work and healing touch. It seeks balance, for it is the center of the whole system. There is no greater elixir than the pure love emanating from the fourth chakra when this area of the body expands with light and forgiveness. It is said, quote, "A broken heart is an open heart," end quote. Sometimes we must feel pain and sorrow before pure love and healing can occur. Both our grief and joy are inspired emotions that govern the heart. Pulsating in a delicate rhythmic dance, these polarities unite, offering wholeness, balance, and compassion for all living beings. When this chakra is in a negative state, the individual is very fearful to open his or her heart and feels isolated and alone. Feelings of attachment, jealousy, envy, and mistrust are maladies of a wounded heart. Relationships can be very difficult with an individual who has closed the chamber of the heart to the world. Forgiveness is a must, and one must always remember love heals all. In a healthy and healed fourth chakra, one is united with the beautiful gifts of grace and peace. The ecstasy of love teaches us to let go and trust in the world, ultimately transcending the flames of sexual passion and emptying our life-giving spirit and spirituality out into the world. Service in this context is a devotional journey that clears the way for healing on a global scale. It is truly a path of the heart. Are you prepared to empty out your heart in service to the world? The affirmation, I am unconditionally loving of myself and others. There is infinite supply of love in the world. I trust in the power of love. I give generously to those in need. I am love. I am love. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and share. Let me go ahead and pull a card here from from the Magdalen Oracle, again by Toni, Carmine, Salerno, and see what additional guidance is here for us today. And then we'll close things out here. Thank you for everyone who's joined me for this conversation. I appreciate your presence here and the comments and feedback and sharing that you send me. I read all of the things that people say, and it's just beautiful to know that there are others for which this message resonates. It lets you know that speak what you know to be your truth. You never know who is going to be listening and who might resonate with it as well. So, all right. What message does Mary Magdalene wish to speak at this time? All right. Transformation. Beautiful. You can see here really just we're transforming this world from darkness into light. That which is unformed, that is of lower vibration, we are emerging and transmuting and creating a new, brighter, and sunnier based reality for us all. It's beautiful, beautiful card. Trying to see if there's anything. It's almost like figures up here, but it's in the clouds, but like the elevation of our higher consciousness and the spirit realm that is also part of this transformation as we begin to merge with the higher planes of spiritual existence where all is absolute love. There is no frequency of separation the higher you go towards God's source consciousness. So it says here, your world may seem like it is turned upside down, yet rest assured there is no need for concern. A positive transformation related to work, study, or finances is now occurring. Keep calm and allow the storm to clear, for when it does, you shall discover that things have been rearranged for the better. Do not fear the changes taking place, for change is a necessary part of life. With every ending comes a new beginning. Trust and be prepared to lovingly let go of the past. If there's one certainty in life, it is that your life will continue to transform as it magically unfolds. Though you may feel unsettled and unsure at present, try to be flexible in your thinking and be open to new ideas. A bright future awaits. Wow. That is very timely for this time. Anyone in the United States knows right now that there are things seem very uncertain and we don't know what is going to emerge. But when you can trust the peace that emerges from inside, that what will be will eventually be the higher frequency of a humanity and an earth that we have not been experiencing in this many, many lifetimes. So when you hold that frequency of love with the open-hearted chakra, that is what is going to be the transformation. We are not going to continue transforming and changing it by just sending that energy back and forth and recycling it over and over again. We are here to be the change that we wish to see. And I don't know about you, but I wish to see unconditional love reflected back to me as I shine it out into the world. Okay. Oh, and then the next card is Guardian Angel. How beautiful. Love this artwork. I haven't gone through this whole deck yet, so I love seeing this here. And it's just so beautiful. We have the red and the pink and the orange all blended together, like the sacral, the compassion, the red rose of love. And I know for me, like knowing that I am surrounded by the divine presence at all times and being able to see the signs of that, and to know when I see a rose pass by on the side of a truck, or to know that when I smell the scent of roses, that it's acknowledgement of spirit's presence around me. It really does uplift and makes this journey easier. So we have this presence wanting to let us know that we are absolutely not alone in this. It says here, to the rational mind, it seems that can nothing exist without having a beginning and an end. To the rational mind, it seems that can nothing exist without having a beginning and an end. In the physical world, things are born and then they die. Things start, then come to an end. On the surface, this is what we see and often believe. However, when we delve deep into the spiritual heart of the matter, a different picture emerges. Energetically, nothing ever truly dies. Everything in life simply transforms. Everything and everyone is forever held within love's eternal embrace. Spiritually, everything and everyone you love are always present. Nothing is ever truly lost or missing. So smile and don't be sad, for everyone you love is forever present in your heart, just as you are forever present within theirs. Time and space are but an illusion. Whether spiritually or physically, we all exist now. Life is but one eternal moment. Beautiful. We are infinite. We are connected. We are never destroyed. We continue on because the frequency of love is all that really is. So to share with you the letter that I received from Nikki, let me go ahead and pull this up here a moment. So she again channels these letters and provides them handwritten out. You receive a picture of it. And this is the one that I received when I asked for guidance from Mother Mary. So let me see here. All right. Now I always say, you know, I have these trifocals. So my seeing and vision is, I have to figure out which level of my trifocals it's on. So Mary Magdalene, what do you want to say to Joelle? The sisterhood is coming together. We are watching closely. Your work is gaining in momentum. There is a power to your words that you cannot see, but it is like painting a picture. Layer upon layer builds up the picture until the unveiling at the end, when all can see the true masterpiece. So my dear, you are layering beautiful colors with your words, color and beauty. You are blessed. Your words are coming straight from our sisterhood. When you speak, you are speaking with the words of an army of thousands and thousands of sister souls who have gone before you. Keep going. Keep painting your love onto the divine painting. Your color is making all the difference. Your color is changing the way we see the world. We see you, my sister, and we thank you. Now, that message is not just for me. This is channeled guidance from Mother Mary. I simply requested it, right? But I am you and you are me. Be you masculine and feminine. This speaks to that same feminine nature in you. And we are coming together and we are gaining momentum. The love frequency is gaining momentum. Do not let anything that you are seeing out in the projection tell you that love is not what is going to be in our reality. Layer by layer, each of us is contributing something to this true masterpiece of all that creation intends us to be. There are so many possibilities of what the picture that emerges is going to look like. This transformation card, it's just pure potentiality here in terms of the sun. So speak your truth. Speak the loving truth that is in your heart, because you are speaking the words of all loving beings, all loving energies. These are the words that are flowing to you, and that is where the connection in all of us lie. We are painting our colors, and each of us has something to and contribute to this picture. And the harmonious reality that is going to emerge is going to be absolutely more beautiful than anything that we could currently envision with our 3D perspective and eyes. So the last guidance that I want to give is from this beautiful deck that my friend Judy gave me. And it's from a deck that's the Priestesses of New Earth is the deck, the Priestesses of the New Earth. And it's a collaboration, this deck of 44 cards. Each of them was created by a different artist with a different message. So here we have this group of people coming together to create through art, pictures and paintings that are embodying this message from the feminine. And it says here, you're on a unique personal journey back to expressing your own true essence. There can be times when you feel you can use some guidance, love, and support from your fellow soul sisters who walk with you. Through this deck, we share our sacred messages and soul-inspired art to remind you to sing your song, dance your dance, and live your magic. Paint your picture. Paint the energy with your loving words that you are expressing as you are speaking that universal love truth out. So this is the card. Paint the earth. I love this. You see, she's got two different colored eyes. She's got this crown of rose-colored pearls. We can see through her hair. There are all manner of different pieces. It reminds me of quilting. My mother's a quilter. So you're stitching together pieces that don't seem to be belonging together, but once the creation is formed, a beautiful piece of comfort, of warmth, of covering emerges. And anyone who's received a quilt knows that it is truly like being wrapped in a hug. So we are able to create and paint this new earth vision with all of our energies that we are putting out there. What is your frequency? Make sure that you are contributing that frequency of love and that you heal yourself to allow that open-heartedness to come forth. So in sharing this, I took the guidance and Uh-oh, I think I actually ended the recording, so we'll finish this last little segment here. I meant to push another button. So this will actually be two videos, but this is from the Priestesses of the New Earth, and the card is Paint the Earth. Okay, so, and I'm going to share my screen so you can see what the card guidance is. Paint the earth, dearest citizen of the new world. You are the sacred medicine our beloved planet has been waiting for. Now is the time to paint the earth in your own unique hue. Now is the time to let your light shine. Now is the time to step forward in your truth, unapologetically and confidently, so that change can manifest in and around you. Beloved, you change the universe by simply being in it. The new world needs you now more than ever. It needs you to be brave. It needs you to show up, speak out, and offer it your gifts. Do not hide in the shadows any longer. Step into the light and show the world what you are made of. You can do this. You are supported. Wow, that is so beautiful. Step out of the darkness and into the light and show the world that you are made of love, and know that all of the ancestors and angels and higher realms are supporting you as you do this. I am feeling the love, and I don't know about you. So just thank you for joining me today for this conversation about Mary Magdalene and the energies of the divine feminine that were presented through all of these fractals by conscious artists and creators who are here to help us receive the guidance that we need on our spiritual journey. Know that I absolutely hold the frequency of love for you, of unconditional love for you. It matters not what your political beliefs are, what your cultural beliefs are. I see you as the divine being that I am. So when I say namaste, I truly mean and believe and intend and live that the light in me absolutely honors the light and love in you. Namaste.